Hello and welcome to the London Bulls podcast with me, Tom Goff. Today I've got no KD with me, which is I want my man, but no problem because I've got one of the best women in the game. It is Joanne Clements. Joe, how are you? Are you well?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. KD doesn't normally ask me how I am, so it's nice that you've done that. That's
Excellent bonus points because it's going to go downhill from there on. So,
yeah. Well,
let's get off to a good start, right?
let's hope not. We want to be positive about this podcast and about the football, Joe. We know that.
Of course,
Um,
always positive about the football.
Before we get going, though, obviously the news on the day of recording this podcast is that sadly Eric Redrobe has passed away. Um, Eric, just a bit of a legend around the club. Signed in that first Football League season in '72 for £6,000, which was a lot of money back then, actually. We weren't doing too well, and with Eric's help, we managed to get to the right end of the table. And he was part of the team that got promoted when we did, and then got promoted from Division 3 as well. So massive loss for Hereford, for the club, for the fans. Um, I think he scored the goal in the FA Cup game against West Ham when we were in the Football League.
He
Um,
did. He
when
did, I
we
believe.
drew with them that game and then beat them in the replay. But yeah, what such a sad loss. But 81 years old, and yeah, our obviously our condolences go to the family.
Yeah, they do, of course. Really sad news.
So let's get to it then, Joe. So just before we talk about the really positive atmosphere in the club at the moment,
Yes.
let's learn a little bit about you. People who don't know you. I mean, there'll be a lot out there who do. You're quite a well-known face from going to a lot of games, Joe, and obviously being part of the fantastic organisation that is the London Bulls. So,
Of course.
so tell us, how did your love affair with with Hereford FC start? Well, Hereford United, I do apologise.
It
Um,
was. You're already giving away my age.
yes.
It was late 80s.
Mhm.
My dad was a huge Birmingham City fan. He was Birmingham born and
Okay,
bred, but my
that's
parents
less good.
moved. It is. My parents moved to Herefordshire in the late 70s, and then he was extremely. I was born 1980. He was very keen for me to support my local football team, and so took me to watch Hereford in, I think, 1989 was my first game.
Wow, that's. Can you remember what it was?
I'm pretty sure it was the Welsh Cup semi-final. It was Kidderminster. It was the second leg. I can't say I remember much about it apart from I just remember being overjoyed at the people, the noise, the chanting, the smell of
Mhm.
Bovril, everything about it. There was a duck on the pitch. Someone had to shoo it off. I think it was 0-0. Kidderminster went through to the final. We'll ignore that bit, but
Mm,
I was hooked. I was hooked from then on,
right.
and then sort of continued to go every so often. I was obviously quite young at that point. I was 8 when I first went, but then kind of by about the mid 90s, had a season ticket in Block B, which I still have,
Mm.
and yeah, it's been a roller coaster, Tom.
Yes, that's one word for it. So obviously you've seen a fair bit in that time. Um, are there any games that stand out for you as sort of favourites of yours?
I mean, look, the conference playoff final 2006, that is obviously an absolute standout. But then
Mm,
I think also just for me personally for the occasion, it's got to be the games against Spurs in 1996,
mm,
the FA Cup games. The 1-1 draw at Edgar Street, the John Brough equaliser, and again, I think being in your teens when that's going on, that huge occasion, the buzz surrounding the club, and then of course getting the trip down to White Hart Lane at that point. Had to get an absence pass from school to get on the coach and go. I think my dad was a teacher, so my dad had to pretty much get an absence pass as well from his head teacher at the school, different school, I should add. And so yeah, we went on the coach. Obviously, difficult scoreline, but that wonder goal from Gareth Stoker in the dying minutes just
Mm.
made it all worthwhile.
A little bit like the Man City Exeter game on the weekend. Um, obviously, what are we, a year? Not even a year, was it? Yeah, it was a year later, the relegation. What I mean, what are your memories of obviously PTSD, I know is a big thing here, but yeah, what are your memories of that, certainly that season, but that day against Brighton?
Well, Tom, this is a very sore point for me because that day against Brighton, I had a family wedding, and
Oh.
obviously I was too young to drive. And so I had to go to the family wedding with my parents.
Mm.
And so my memories of that game are basically at that point, I was sitting there with a Walkman listening during the wedding reception, desperately clinging on to whatever highlights and whatever or lowlights for us.
Mm.
Score updates they were giving us on, I think it must have been Five Live still at that point.
Mm.
And and probably the first wedding I've ever cried at.
Oh,
And that was my memory of that Brighton game.
poor
It
married couple.
I know. I think it did get mentioned during the speeches as well. Obviously, everyone was desperately trying to console me, gee me up, but there wasn't
Mm.
much that could be said at that point. And then just to rub salt in the wounds, I'd done work experience at Match of the Day magazine a few weeks earlier, and I got a letter from them asking if I could write about my day at the wedding when I would have been at Edgar Street.
Uh, yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, it seems a bit of a theme. I was at a family wedding when we got relegated against Torquay. Um,
Were you? I've never lived this down. This is an ongoing thing that I still get mocked about by the guys I've been seeing within Block B for years on end. And I think my mum and dad gave our season tickets to like the hairdresser or something, so that they could go so the seats weren't empty.
oh God. Okay. Well, there you go.
Let's move
Um,
on.
I mean, from your time watching Hereford, have you, are there any standout players? Who are your favourite players that have played
My
for the
my
Mighty Whites
favorites, my
or
favorites are
Purples?
probably from that mid-90s period. I loved Gareth Stoker. I thought
Hmm.
he was just an absolute workhorse. He put his heart and soul into every game. I loved Murray Fishlock.
Hmm.
He was phenomenal for us. And again, I don't know the stats, but obviously he had a lot of appearances. He also had those like 90s curtains. They were always going to be a winner. Um, and then obviously a little further down the line, I'd have to say Steve Guinan, I think. Just
Mm,
the goal, the Guinan goal machine. I
yeah.
think they're probably my favourites over
Hmm.
the years.
Yeah. Some very good players in there, Joe. Um, so in the intervening years, you you moved abroad,
I
to the
did.
to the US for what was it, 10 years in LA?
Yeah, just over. I think it was about 12 in the end.
Oh wow. And so what was that like supporting Hereford from, I mean, obviously we're London Bulls, we support Hereford from afar already, but from even further afar.
It was tricky, and obviously, in the sort of in the later years with Radio Hereford FC starting up, that was wonderful because that was an absolute game changer.
Hmm.
But prior to that, I think there might have been, maybe a dodgy VPN for Hereford and Worcester on the occasion. And score updates from my parents, desperately trying to find out what was going on. It was tough. It was tough to start with, trying to kind of keep up the sort of momentum of being a fan. And it's not like you can't just pop back every few weeks for games. So my parents obviously did learn to realise that every single, I mean, thankfully they were also season ticket holders, but
Hmm.
they did learn to realise that every single trip home, because I was such an excellent daughter, coming to see them would definitely be coincided with the maximum number of games that I could
Yes.
fit in at that moment in time.
Yes. Well, that's fair enough. Yeah. I don't blame you, but they
And
weren't
then of
always
course
the
with
best times.
they were not, and then of course with Radio Hereford FC, that changed things in terms of, it was 7 a.m. starts for the in LA for the 3 p.m.
Mm,
kickoffs, so I'd be up early listening, or if I was traveling for work with I'm a journalist, so if I was with our photographers, they'd be subjected to listening to the commentary and in the
mm.
car in Arizona, Nevada, or wherever we were, or in the hotel rooms, and yeah, that was great, because I think it just made you feel a lot more connected to the club.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Absolutely. It's a very important service, isn't it? Radio Hereford FC and what it's become. And, I mean, occasionally they have very good commentators on there, but not all the time. But,
no, 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 not all the time. Just just
if you are,
selectively.
if you can't quite get to the Kings Lynn game this weekend, then I've got you covered. With Pete,
You
I might
always
add.
manage to time it for when I can't go to a game as well,
Yeah.
Tom. We should add.
So I
So
feel more sorry for you, I think.
I
Um,
will be. I will be listening.
yeah, well, thank you. That's very kind of you. But not for me because you want to know the result of the Hereford game.
We'll
So
pretend it's in
you're not
support
supporting
of.
me here, Jay. Anyway,
We'll
look,
pretend it
look,
is.
let's move on. Let's move on. So obviously you're part of the London Bulls. We'll come on to that later about what's going on with the London Bulls and what we're up to. But this season, hasn't necessarily gone to plan. Um, Before we get into that though, just cast your mind back over this season. Some highlights for you. Um, have you enjoyed any of it?
Yes. Do you know what? I have. I know it's been a difficult season. It is a really difficult season. It's
Hmm.
it's potentially going to get a lot more difficult if something, we don't have a bit of a turnaround. But look, it's been good. The away days are great.
Mhm.
I know we'll kind of talk about the London Bulls a little bit later on, but that has also made such a difference, I think, in terms of just pure enjoyment of traveling to games, meeting up with people
Mhm.
before. We've obviously got Alan Layton, who does Owl's Ale Trail.
Mhm.
Um, he leads us sort of on a tour of the best pubs, in wherever far-flung place in the north of England we might find ourselves. Um, and so from that respect, it has been enjoyable. Buxton, probably, my favourite. That was, that I think, our first win of the season, right?
Mhm.
And it was I don't think we necessarily expected to win that game,
Mhm.
and so yeah, that was a great day out. And despite the result, I loved Fylde. We obviously had a London Bulls away weekend for that,
Mhm. We did.
in Blackpool to coincide with it, and we were so unlucky not to get something out of
Mhm.
that game.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
so yeah, they've been, it's been, yeah, it's a tricky season, but there's been some good days out for sure.
Yeah. I mean that file trip was brilliant, wasn't it? We got the car up, drove up there, went to Fylde. I mean it was gutting conceding the last minute.
It
And
was.
then a night out in Blackpool, which I would suggest to anyone to do at least once in your life. Um,
For a second, I thought you were going to say once a year, and I was like, that might kill me, Tom.
new, although I'd be up for doing it again next season if we're both in the same league, which who knows. Um, yeah, I mean, I think something you were talking about there, and specifically that file game where we deserved something out of it. There's been a lot of games, especially recently, but there's been a lot of games where, you know, we should have maybe got more out of a game than we did. Um, I
For
think
sure.
it's obviously clear right now the first half isn't going very well, and the second half we're so much better. Um, but you know, how do you see it at the moment, our situation, and you know, we've obviously lost some players. You'd imagine we'll get a few more
Mhm.
in. But where do you see us right now?
I mean, I think you've hit the nail on the head with the first half performances. It's
Mm,
that's what we have to turn around,
mm,
because too many times this season we've come out, we've given ourselves a mountain to climb, and then all of a sudden we look like a different side in the second
mm,
half. The
mm,
trophy game on Saturday was just a prime example of that. We kind of second half we look so much better, and
mm,
I don't I don't have the answers. I'm absolutely no expert, but I think we've just got to somehow find that belief and that sheer determination straight from
mm,
the offset.
mm,
Not concede sloppy goals. We need a goal. Of course, we need a goal scorer.
mm,
I think everybody would agree with that. We need
mm,
someone who's going to be consistently knocking them in. Um, and we've got a tough run in. We've obviously got a lot of games.
mhm,
Tuesday, Saturday, very short period of time,
mhm,
difficult time of year. A lot, a lot of traveling sort of Tuesday nights for these part-time players. And I know Caddis has mentioned hopefully we're going to see a few new faces coming in,
mm,
which I think is definitely needed, and they need to be ones that are going to stick around for the
mm,
remainder of the season.
mm. Yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on? Obviously, he mentioned Sam Osborne. Obviously, he returned to Alfreton on from the loan. Um, we offered him a contract, but an 18-month one for the money that he wanted. Is there any space, do you think, and do you think it's worth our while giving him a contract just for this season so that at least we've got him because we're obviously struggling?
I mean, yes, I do, in all honesty.
Mm,
I don't obviously know the ins and outs of exactly why it had to be 18 months
mm,
that was going to be agreed, because you can't blame the guy. I
mhm,
mean, he
mhm,
was he was brilliant for us, and he is no doubt that he was a huge loss
mm,
um, when he had to go back to Alfreton. But we he's the kind of player that we need, and he turned around a lot of games
mm,
when coming on a sub. And I can you can understand why he wouldn't want to commit with the position we find ourselves in the
mm.
league at the moment. It's going to be very uncertain. We don't know where we're going to find ourselves next season. So I don't blame him for not wanting to sign up to 18 months at this stage. But
Mm.
but yeah, it's a shame that we couldn't make something happen for the remainder of this season.
Yeah, well, talking of obviously where we are right now, we're as of recording, we're 23rd in the league on 21 points. What are we? 3 points
Don't
away
don't
from.
don't say it out loud, Tom.
Got to say at some point, Joe. We got to face up to this. We're 3 points off safety. We've obviously played 21 games, which is the lowest in the league. We've got games in hand on everybody now. Whether it's one, two, three, four, up to 5 games in hand now. We've got to win those games in hand, of course, and that's going to be the difficult thing, as you mentioned. A lot of games coming up. They're difficult games as well. They're not going to be easy games. We've got a goal difference of -10. Put that in perspective, we actually did a podcast a year ago yesterday, that we put out, and we were ninth at the time on 37 points. So we were 16 points better off, although we had played a couple more games. We'd won 10 games, drawn 7, and lost 7. We've won 5 games this season, so we've won 5 less games. Um, and actually, in fact, looking at it now, it's exactly the same amount of games. So 16 points worse off, and we're 18 goals worse off on our goal difference. And obviously we're 14 point places lower than we were last season. You know, what do we what do we put that down to? Is it losing players like Sammy Robinson, Tate Campbell, Cisse, see Jaden White? We've got him back now, but do you put it down to that? Is there more to it? Is it obviously it's not just a case of it's a harder league because clearly we're doing a lot worse than we should be doing. But is it a harder league? Is it tighter? What do you think?
Um, I think it is harder. I think we're struggling just in terms of obviously, the number of clubs that we're battling against with
Mm,
better budgets, more that they can offer players. Sort of the hybrid model, the full-time model. Um, and but I definitely think that the sort of number of players that we've lost and the just the revolving door of
mm,
players that we've got is is problematic because when you combine that with what's been happening recently with the with the postponements, can't
mm,
postponements cause can't be helped,
hmm
but it just means that we've constantly got players coming in and out. They
mm,
haven't, I don't think they've had time to gel.
mm,
Um, and we don't seem to be able to kind of get any level of consistency
mm.
on the pitch.
But is that sort of revolving door somewhat respective of non-league football though?
I think it is. I think it definitely is. Especially with our level and our budget. I think it definitely is. I mean, in terms of what else is going wrong, I don't know. I mean, we're a lot defensively weaker, I think, this season than I was expecting us to be.
Mm,
As we said previously, we need a goal scorer. Um, we've quite simply we've got to find one,
mm,
and we've got to get these results over the next few games for sure.
mm. I mean, our top goal scorer so far this season is Willow with 6 goals. Um, I don't know how many games he's started because obviously he's come off the bench a few times, but he's played pretty much all season this season. And obviously, the last 2 seasons before this, we had injury problems with him and Cowley, and we never saw the best of them. And I know you can't lay the blame at Williams' door. That's not what I'm saying here, but we're still not necessarily getting the return that we want. And is that, yeah, we do need a striker, sure, but is that the only thing? Have we got enough creativity there now? Obviously we've lost Osborne, we've lost Sterling James, but we weren't doing, it's not like we were scoring goals for fun with them. So, is there more
Not at
to
all.
it? Do we need, obviously we need players again but, you know, do we need to be looking further back? Is the midfield a problem?
I think, yeah, I do. I think we definitely need to sort of be provide, the guys that we've got up front. I mean, I thought Remy Campbell played very well when he came on at the weekend.
Hmm.
But I also, they need the midfield to be providing them with these opportunities
hmm
to knock them
hmm
in. Um, the two new guys that came in at the weekend, I thought they did look promising. Obviously, we've
hmm
not seen much of them so far, so we still need to see how that goes. Um, but yeah, we need a stronger midfield. We need stronger strikers
And a defence. We,
and a defence.
I mean,
Yeah,
this is the thing, isn't it? But I think probably because we're in 23rd, you can criticize the whole team in that regard, can't you?
exactly.
Um,
There's no, and I know it's kind of easy to. It's always it's always the strikers that sort of
mm,
fall victim here because of course it's easy to pinpoint it on them, and it's not just them. It is the whole team, and it is
mm,
the performances overall. But I do, if you kind of cut out these first half performances, I do think that there are positives that we have to take from the trophy game against Fylde, from the
mm,
sort of from the game against Merthyr. Um, we have, second half we have looked a little bit stronger than we were, and
mm.
I don't know if I'm just desperately clinging on to hope here, Tom,
Well,
um, but yeah, I probably am. I always do. You have to as a Hereford fan,
yeah,
and
it's true.
but yeah, there are those little glimmers that make me think, okay, we'll be all right, be
Mm,
okay, please.
yeah, I mean, I think this obviously the first half situation is costing us here, and obviously defensively we've not been as strong as we would want to be. And some of the goals, or most of the goals that we're conceding first are really poor goals to give away. Either we're not picking the man up, or we're just being passed around too easily, or we're out of position, whatever it might be. If you cast your mind back to that first game of the season against Spennymoor, and I think it was the first goal, and it was Keenan Quantzer had come, hadn't he, for forwards to clear the ball and clear it out for a throw in. They took a quick throw over his head. Striker ran on and scored. Now that's not his. I don't think that's necessarily his fault because he was clearing the ball. Why is nobody covering him? And I think and that's just one game, but I think that's you can see a lot of that type of thing where we're still not picking people up, and you know why? And it's really frustrating. I can't remember what game I was watching the other night. I think it was Charlton Chelsea in the FA Cup, and Charlton were, whenever I was watching them, and whenever they were that one of them was going out to go and pick somebody up or to whatever, somebody else was coming in covering, you know, and that's why they held out for so long because they were, and then as soon as they stopped doing that, as soon as they couldn't pick people up, maybe tiredness, maybe just Chelsea got the best better of them, that's when they started to concede. And I think we've seen it time and time again where we're giving really, really poor goals away, and it's putting us at a disadvantage. When you look at our second half performances, it's like those second half performances, if we could do that a little bit more, you're never going to do it the whole game because it's just impossible, but doing it more and not conceding these stupid goals, we honestly, worst case would be mid-table. And I think we'd even be hovering just outside the playoffs. That's how good our second
For
half
sure.
performances on the whole have been. Short of, we're still missing a few goals in that second half.
But no, I completely agree. The 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 sloppy goals we've been conceding is it's so frustrating.
Hmm.
The early goals. And again, I can't really pinpoint anyone who's particularly to blame for it, but
Mm,
it has just it's cost us so many games, and so many games that we probably could have won, but we kind of ended up scraping a draw or lost it, and
mm,
um that has to be. I mean, no one needs to tell Caddis that he sees it with his own eyes, and
mm.
has to be something that they're looking at, and hopefully something that they're working on in training.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You hope so, don't you? I think, you know, sort of final bit on that really before we sort of look at some specific games and look at the next few games is that to me it feels very much like the first half. We almost don't know how the other team's going to play or going to set up, or they do something that surprises us. And we concede that goal, our heads go down a little bit, but we just don't feel like we know what the opposition are going to do, and we don't know who we're supposed to be picking up. We don't know what we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to beat them. And all of a sudden, half time, it's almost like they get together and go, well, they're doing this, this, and this. So let's counteract that and let's go and do, you know, and then that seems to be the way. It's like we don't know what's going to happen. And then half
Yeah,
time is like, right, we know what's going to happen now. And then it's like, but we've just had a terrible first half,
that
you know?
that's definitely the way it feels. I mean, do you think it's a lack of research on the opposition? I don't I don't know, a lack of sort of studying previous games. I'm not sure, but no, you're exactly right. That is how it feels, sort of first half to second half.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, no doubt Cadiz is doing the work and they're watching these teams and it maybe that isn't specifically what the problem is, but that's just how it feels right now is that we just don't know what other teams are going to do. I mean, you've talked about the Fylde game. I think obviously it's unlucky to lose on penalties and it's a better result than we
Yeah.
had up there earlier in the season. But could we have won that game, in your opinion?
Oh, we absolutely could have won it. I mean, we were unlucky not to win it. Um, Overall, obviously, their goalkeeper made the blinding save. We hit the
Mm,
bar. Um, a couple of goals that would have been fantastic goals if they if they'd gone in. Of course, they have to
mm,
go in. But
hmm
um, but we should have won it, given because if we'd have, as you said previously, if we'd have kind of come out and looked like we did in the second half in the first half, then I think we would have done. But they absolutely ran rings around us
Mm,
in that first half. And yeah, the sort of penalty was a bit dubious, and it's another sort of goal from a set piece from them, which again is just sort of frustrating and a slight pattern of behaviour this season. But yeah, I think we could have won it. And yeah, penalty, of course, penalties are always a lottery. I thought Lawson Diaz was absolutely brilliant at the weekend, by the way. He
mm,
was he was outstanding, and my heart broke for him a little bit when he hit that penalty, because you don't want that to be your
mm.
sort of the resulting memory of that game when you've played so well. I thought Kwanzaa looked great
Mm.
at the weekend too. So they're the things that I'm trying to take away from that performance.
Yeah, I mean it's such a shame for Duff, isn't it? Because he deserved to score that penalty, if anything, you know. And I think it's interesting you say about Quansah. I think since he's come back into the team, since he's starting games again, I feel like he's been a lot better since he's come back into the fold. So, we just need to try and shore up that defense, don't we? Um, Merthyr away, obviously 2-2, great result in the end, especially against a team that's flying as high and scoring as many goals. And they still had
Absolutely.
both Corley Cox and Ricardo Reis then as well. So I think it is a good result. And if you look at the first goal, it's exactly what we're talking about with defensive mistakes. Haykins, I don't know what he thought was going to happen. I don't know if he thought Richardson was coming or whatever, if he'd had a shape, but really poor from him. But he does make it up with the 94th minute equaliser. So, swings and roundabouts, but I think frustrating, but also good result.
Yeah, to be honest, I did not expect to go into that game and get anything out of it.
Mm.
Merthyr are flying high, knocking the goals in, as you say. Ricardo Reis is always going to be a force to be reckoned with. And yeah, I mean, injury time equalisers are always pretty sweet, aren't they? Didn't you predict the time the exact times we would score? Sorry, my AirPods just fallen out. Um,
Yes,
but so
I
that
did.
that was weird. But yeah, 94th
Well,
minute,
we were
two
joking, weren't
all.
we, in the first half that if we won the game, we'd go to Alfreton on the Saturday, and
Yes.
then obviously we went 1-0 down at half. We were at 1-0 down at half time, and I said I reckon we're going to win 2-1, and we'll score in the 58th and 94th minutes, and we scored in the 58th and 94th minutes, which is odd. That's you know
Yeah,
just such a
I've
shame that Merthyr
actually
scored in the middle of that.
I know they absolutely ruined it, Tom. Otherwise, I would have been asking you for the lottery numbers. But yeah, look, we it was good. It was great that we got something out of that game.
Mm.
It was freezing as well, and I knew that I was delighted with the result at the end, because I kind of only noticed how frozen my feet were when we started walking down that hill afterwards.
Yeah,
Um,
that really well
but
policed hill. Yeah, great.
the really the really well policed hill where we all kind of just came face to face with
Well, they just let us
each
all out at the
other
same time. They weren't
despite the
supposed to.
segregation. Yeah, that was a
So we may
weird
as well have all
decision.
been in together. But anyway,
Yeah.
such is the world, such is the world. But obviously we had Kiddie on Boxing Day. I think that was a really poor game from both sides, and probably a draw would have been a fair result. But
Yeah, and
that's
again,
our
I
luck
know,
this
I
season,
know
isn't it?
we saw each other before the game, and I think we were desperately trying to gee one another up and not kind of assume that it was going to be an absolute disaster. I fully expected, if I'm honest, us to lose that game back 3 or 4 nil.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and in a way, and obviously, you know, Kitty didn't look great. It's just I'm just saying that because it's really pleasant saying that, but it's you know, when we kind of, yeah, when we deserved to get something out of it, it was just almost more deflating, I think, because you came away thinking, oh, we should have got a point. We could have got a point from that.
Mm-hmm. So I'd like to thank our sponsors of today's podcast, KY Jelly. Are you in a tough spot that you're struggling to get out of? Are you languishing towards the bottom? Well, there's only one product for you, and that's KY Jelly. So, Joe, obviously, we have got some football matches coming up. As you said before, a lot of them as well. Starting with
Well, there are a
Kings,
lot.
starting with Kings Lynn on the weekend. Now, you sounded pretty optimistic about this when we were talking just a second ago, but
I mean,
what do you see?
I should add that talking about these upcoming games, this does come with the disclaimer that I physically cannot allow myself to predict that we're ever going to lose.
Mm,
So just yeah, don't laugh at me. But I think Kings Lynn have had a bad run. They
mm,
are this is winnable. This has to be winnable. I and we had also a great London Bulls day out. We should add at Kings Lynn last season.
mm.
Um, I can't personally go myself this time, but I know a few others
Good
are,
enough, is
and
it?
I know it isn't. I would, or this definitely means we'll play a blinder as well. So I would urge any London Bulls who want to join on the away day to get in touch, find out travel plans, etc., etc.
Yeah. Well, that's
But
a good point
I'm
actually, Joe, because if anyone wants to know where we're going to be or get our Zale trail and follow the trail themselves, there's only one way you can do that, Joe, and
what is that, Tom?
that is by becoming a member. Uh, the links will all be down below and on all of our social medias, but that's the only place you can get official updates. The only place, Joe. Carry
I've
on.
heard it's the place to be. I've heard it's the place to be. You don't want to miss out.
Don't
Some good pubs. Might be some goals. You never know.
mm,
Um,
push it
on
too
to
far.
which I think we're gonna do this one. I think I'm going for 2-0. Um, I
Wow.
I'm feeling positive.
Nil.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bold statement, but I'm going
Good.
there, Tom. What
Okay.
what do you think?
Um, do you know what? They haven't won
Go on.
in the last four. Um, they're on 28 points, so seven ahead of us. We've got four games in hand. If we win all those four games in hand, we're above them anyway. We beat them, and suddenly that gap is only 4 points. But they drew with Peterborough Sports, who we beat the last time I commentated 2-0.
Last
Um,
time you commentated, and also the last time I couldn't go. So there
yeah,
we go.
weird that, isn't
The
it?
star the stars are aligning.
I just want to say about this whole commentating thing, Joe, is that when I've led the commentary or been on co-coms for the whole game, because there was one game where I did only half and we lost. But outside of that, we have won every single game. Not drawn, not drawn anything. We've won every single game, keeping
This
three clean sheets.
this could be the answer. I mean,
Sorry.
to be honest, I don't know why we've wasted all this time talking about, the comings and goings of players and the
Mm.
defense and the midfield and the
Matter.
strikers when it actually all just boils down to the fact that you're doing the radio commentary.
Yep, that's it. That's what it
Excellent.
comes
I
down to.
mean, that's what Caddis
Um,
needs to sort out.
but answer your question 2-1. Um, they're the fourth worst home team in the league, Jay.
This is the kind of stats I like to hear.
And we're the seventh worst away team. But that
Not that one.
seven's better than four in this case, and
Exactly.
so we've got to be optimistic. We've got to be optimistic. Some signings before then, do you think, Joe?
I mean, Caddis has said there are going to be. So I mean, there have to be. I know, obviously, at the Fylde game, Mark Bond was a surprise mascot to him, which was just a brilliant moment. And at one point, I did think they might just shove him on the bench because
Mm.
it was lacking a little bit of manpower, but they didn't go with
Right,
that option.
right. I mean, I wasn't there, so unfortunately, I didn't see Bondy running. But is he the most mobile at the age of 60 now?
I I wasn't studying
Mm.
his fitness levels, but he may have struggled a little bit, but he'd
Is
fill a
is
seat.
is part? Well, yes. Is part of the reason that you weren't necessarily watching totally because you'd had a few in hospitality before the game, Joe.
I could not possibly comment on the
Ah,
levels of my hangover on a Sunday and
okay.
whether they were a result of the very enjoyable hospitality day.
Okay, well, just saying. Um, Kings Lynn obviously won 2-0 at Edgar Street earlier in the season, so you're thinking it's going to go the opposite of that. But, they're also the 20th best, so the what's that, the fifth worst 5 game form in the league. So, and that's again, that's worse than us. So, look, we both think we're going to win for some
Yeah,
unknown reason, and maybe we will. Okay.
maybe we might just do it. We might just do
Um,
it.
yeah, we'll see. Moving on to that next game, then Joe against Macclesfield at home. Obviously, it's been rearranged about 1,000 times now. We must say, obviously, with
It-
Macclesfield, well done for achieving the second best giant killing in football history. Just behind Hereford versus Newcastle, which is still better because look at that pitch, the fitness levels, the fact it was a replay that we'd already drawn with them, not 0-0, 1-1, but 2-2 up at St James's. So and it had the goals to boot. Um, so it'll always be better. And Motti's commentary. So
a
but
legendary
look,
commentary
it was still a
launched
good
his
effort.
career.
Okay, yeah.
It will still be the one that they show at the start of Match of the Day. We all know it will.
Yes, I did get very excited. I was in the cafe on Saturday, and they prior to the Macclesfield game, and they had the TV, and in the opening credits was still Ronnie Radford's goal, and we all got rather excited. So, but looking at the game, then the league, they are 14th. They are a few points ahead of us. They've only got one. We've only got one game in hand on them. That's the closest team to us in that regard. But hopefully, Joe, they will still be hungover a week and a half later.
Stick him in Hereford hospitality. That will
Hmm.
sort them out.
So it was heavy. So
Yes.
you're finally admitting that
Oh,
hospitality was heavy.
maybe. Um, we this look even I will admit the Macclesfield game is going to be a tough one. Yes, I hope they're still hungover, celebrating all of the above, not like wanting to risk injury ahead of the next round. It's going to be very difficult.
Hmm.
They've been fairly inconsistent this season, right? Macclesfield
Hmm.
again, the levels of hope are rising. Um, but yes, it's it's gonna be difficult. I obviously, I have to my heart will always say that we're going to win it, but um, my head kind of says draw to push.
Wow. Some negativity coming through. How can you do that? We're 23rd. We're not even bottom.
I, I know, no, I've ridiculously written down we win 2-1. Um, I don't know if I fully believe what I've written on this piece of paper next to me, but
Okay, so you've changed your mind since you wrote that. So what do you think the actual score is going to
no,
be?
I wrote down we win 2-1, heart, head says 1-1 draw, have to
Okay,
push.
that's
Those exact
interesting.
words.
That's interesting. Okay, well, I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. I think there'll be a few goals. We can't seem to keep a clean sheet at home, so there's a goal already. But I think, yeah, look, we don't know who we're going to get in before
Mhm.
then, personnel wise. It could all be different, very different by then. And let's hope that it is. We've got to be somewhat positive because there are 25 games to go, which is a lot. We've only
It
played
is.
21, so we're not even halfway through our season yet. But by the end of this month, we will be very much so. Um, and we've got a lot of games between then and now. Got to pick up points, Joe.
We have to. I mean, look, we can love the away days as much as we do, and we can love the players and all of the above, but yeah, it's about results now.
Mm,
And we absolutely have to pick up points. I think we have to win the Kings Lynn game. Macclesfield's going to be tough, but ideally, yeah, of course, we want to get something out of it. Um,
mm,
and I think it's going to be, yeah, I think this running is just going to be a crucial time for Caddis's future, in all honesty.
mm. Yeah, I think as you point out, we have to beat Kings Lynn. Macclesfield is going to be more difficult, and that's the start of that difficult run, really. We've got Spennymoor after that on the following Saturday again at home. Obviously, as we mentioned earlier, they beat us 2-0, first game of the season up there. They're 10th. They had a good start to the season, but haven't necessarily been as good recently. And in fact, on Boxing Day, they lost 6-0 to South Shields, although South Shields are probably going to win the league. So, is there a chance? Do we have any hope? Can we
We always have hope. Yes, we do have hope. Look, let's focus. I mean, yeah, it's our shields, but we'll focus on the six, like the 6-0 drubbing. That I am solely focusing on the
It
6-0
seems like
drubbing.
it, doesn't it? It does seem like it.
You sent me a load of other stats. I ignored them all, and I just
Mm,
looked at that one and thought, yes, this is the one that we need to pinpoint to
yeah,
just make, we've got to cling on to this. But I mean, yeah, look, they're all going to be tough. To be honest, the position we're in, every single game is a tough game.
yeah. Well,
Um,
that's very true. That's very true. Although we're making it tougher for ourselves.
we are making it tougher, and obviously, I'm sure everyone is playing us, kind of seeing us as potential easy opposition. They're seeing, especially those early goals going in, the first half performances, and they know that that's where they can capitalise. And we've just got to make sure that doesn't happen.
Mm. I think when we've got out there and fought for it, had that desire, had that energy, we seem to have done a lot better. And players like Lawson Death are fundamental to that way of playing because that's the type of player that he is. So we need more players like that. And you know, let's just hope that we can get some positive results. So Spennymoor, then, what are you thinking? What's your prediction?
I've gone for we win 2-1. There's a theme here, Tom, in case you haven't already worked it out.
I mean, Spennymoor have got a -5 goal difference. This is not a team that is comfortable. So look, I don't think you're totally crazy, but you are starting to border on the whole KD side of this now, who, as everyone knows who listens to this podcast,
I've got to fill KD
a
shoes
little
right
bit.
for
You
for
have,
this, so
you
I
have.
have
That's
to,
true.
I have to bring the KD positivity to the table here.
It's fair. This is fair. Um, I, I mean, I think we'll probably lose, but I'll go with a 1-1 draw. Okay, but when we lose, I'll know. Um,
You'll make sure I know that you were right. Yeah, of
yes,
course.
and I'll show you the clip of this uh, at the time.
No, I will
Um,
never ever watch this, Todd.
so our last Tuesday night game in January is Oxford City at home. Obviously, we lost 3-0 up there earlier in the season, which it was cold, it was horrible. It was one of the worst games of football I've seen us play, despite where
It
we
was
are.
dire. I actually think I've successfully completely blocked that game out of my mind because it was just miserable.
It was, and we were. Everything about it was miserable, wasn't it, really? Um, even to the point where we put the flag over the advertising hoardings and the stewards told us to move it. It's just everything that could go wrong went wrong. Everything, Joe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it can't be that bad, right? It can't be that bad.
Who knows? Who kn who knows? I mean, look, Oxford are 19th. They're only 3 points ahead of us. We've got 5 games in hand on them. We should be ahead of them by the end of those 5 games. You'd like to think, again, a negative goal difference for them of -7. So, and they've got the second worst away record in the league. we have to take advantage of that, Joe. We have
We
to.
do.
We've got to be better. We've got to be better. We all know that. We need some players. We all know that. We should be getting them in. But when you're playing teams like Oxford City, who were terrible away, you've got to make the most of it, Joe.
You have to capitalize, and that I know obviously I'm getting caught, I'm predicting that we're going to win them all, but
You are.
I King's Lynn is a must win, and on this, on the list of the next few fixtures coming up, Oxford is the other. Absolutely cannot
Yes,
lose that game.
100%. Prediction on that one then, Joe?
I've gone for a 3-1 win on this one to
Wow.
us, obviously,
Obviously, Joe. Obviously.
because we're going to have signed an excellent striker by this time, and he's
Erling
going to be
Haaland by the sounds of it. Okay.
he's going to be knocking them in for us over the next 4 games. So
I mean, if we wanted a management option, obviously Xabi Alonso's now available.
yeah,
Um,
very good point.
and if we need a striker, well, I'm sure there's someone we can get on loan, isn't there? You know,
Yeah, probably.
so there's got to be. I mean, Man United aren't scoring, so that suits us because we don't like to score either. Um, so we can get one of theirs. Sesko, right? I'm going to go 3-1 as well. Joe.
Oh,
Okay, so we
okay,
finally agree on one.
we finally agree.
Um, I think Oxford are poor, and we will make the most of it. So there you
Yeah,
go. So,
yes, we will.
I mean, I've got you saying that your head is saying that we're going to get 10 points out of 12 in the next 4 games if they're all on,
Mhm. Let's
which
go
would
with the
put us
heart
in
option of the full
a,
12.
l- a lot better position than we're in now. But lots of games in hand, lots more Tuesdays after that, lots more Saturdays after that. We've only got the league to concentrate now because obviously we're out of the FA Trophy. Disappointing, but hey, it is what it is. Maybe we need to just concentrate on this league at the moment. We don't need more games clogging that
Yeah,
up.
yeah. Look, a trophy, trophy win run, that potential Wembley carrot is always lovely, but in all honesty, yeah, I think we have to concentrate on the league.
Yeah, well,
So
either way, Joe, we'll be at the non-league finals day again, weather permitting, and the weather being that I'm not in Barbados at that point, and because we had a great time last year,
we did have a great time last year.
with our London buds.
It was the most relaxed trip to Wembley I think I've ever had.
Yeah, it's true.
Very
Very true.
bizarre experience, but
Lovely in
very
Club Wembley,
enjoyable.
wasn't it, as well?
It was
Um,
very nice. Yeah, we had a good time.
so talking of our London buds, obviously we've done plenty this year with the London Bulls, Joe. Um, Most recently with the London Bulls Christmas party. I mean, did you have a good time?
I loved it, Tom. I mean, I know you and KD obviously kind of, you did the Q&As, you compared it. You probably didn't get quite as much of an opportunity to sort of sit there and just soak it all up and enjoy it. But yeah, it was a great evening. It's the second time we've done it now. We had, video messages from a load of ex-players. We obviously had Purdy as guest speaker. He was brilliant. I mean,
Mhm.
you can just sit there and listen to Rob Purdy for hours, can't you? He's eloquent and he's got some great stories. And we had some lovely raffle prizes. We had EJ got delved into his attic and got a signed ball. I can't remember, we worked out when it was from, but I can't
91
actually
or 2 or something, I think.
I think it might have been 91. And we obviously had a shirt signed by the current squad, which we should actually give a shout out to Dan Pace for
Mhm.
helping us with that, because it was a little bit of a scramble. That was was it the Peterborough game that was swapped
Yes.
around to the away fixture. So
Yes.
yes, it was a little bit trickier to organise, but yeah, he did us an absolute solid. So
Mm.
very grateful. And yeah, it was a good night, a great
Mm.
night.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
had the FSA there too, the Football Supporters Association, Fans for Diversity campaign. Hannah and Nilesh came along, who's been incredibly supportive of us.
Mhm.
They give us funding, and they're the reason that we can put these kind of events on.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
and obviously we listen to them talk about the important work that they've been doing, and yeah, it
Yeah.
was a very enjoyable evening.
Yeah, it definitely was. And no, you're absolutely right about the FSA, the support they give and Fans for Diversity, support they give to so many people, so many groups like ours, so many clubs as well. The FSA and Fans for Diversity work with Hereford and Hust. So our opportunity to get them along, listen to what they've got to say, but also give back a little bit and give them a free meal and hopefully a bit of a laugh. I think they seem to enjoy it, Nilesh and Hannah, listening to Purdy's stories, especially when he was talking about his Wembley goal, which he says he doesn't like talking about because we didn't win the game, and then proceeded to make us show the goal about 8 times so he
Yeah,
could point out
exactly.
basically how good he was. So
Exactly. Play it again. Play it again.
yeah, we'll stop now, Purds. Talking of, you mentioned shirts. We obviously had the sponsored players shirts there as well, sort of. In Matt Preston, for the men's, obviously the same shirt as you've got on now, and Miley Jordan's shirt, which is white. It's not this one because I don't think I'd fit into her shirt. And
They can't see that it's actually a crop top that you're
yeah,
wearing,
yeah,
Tom.
exactly, yeah, yeah. I've had to cut the back out of it. But yeah, I mean, really great to sponsor Matt again, as we obviously did last season, and great to sponsor a women's player this season. We didn't get the opportunity to last year, but we have this season, and fantastic. It's Miley Jordan, who's young. She's on loan from Kidderminster at the moment, but just a real great talent, and is going to go so far in football. So yeah, just glad to be at the start of her journey.
Yeah, and I think it's so great that everybody got behind this making sure we were able to support one of the women's players this season and do that additional shirt sponsorship, and we're really lucky in that, with people's generosity on this front, and
Mm,
we obviously have a handful of people who are kind of regularly do donate to us, who obviously we won't sort of mention by name, but they know who they are, and
mm,
it goes a long way, and it really helps us with the amount that we can do.
mm. Yeah, it gives us that freedom to be able to put events on and accumulate a little bit of money, so that we're able to do it, and then we're able to make it a little bit better for everyone. Um, we've got London Bulls meeting next week, haven't we? So we'll be discussing a few things about what we want to try and achieve this year from the London Bulls perspective. But what have we done and what have we got coming up then, Joe?
Coming up, we've got, I know we've all mentioned, obviously we've talked about Miley Jordan sponsorship. We want to get to a women's game. It's obviously at the moment it's tricky with postponements and in schedules, but we'd love to make sure we can do that. We want to put on more screenings of games in London. The ones that we've been able to do have been such a huge success. It's been, as you know, Tom, a little bit tricky because of the issues with DAZN and the
Mm,
very limited National League North games that they're airing this season. But with any luck, they will add a few more. I know that's also an issue that we've raised with the FSA. So whether that might, change a bit for next season, here's hoping. We have also obviously got, we've mentioned Kings Lynn. That will be an amazing away day for anyone that's able to go. Bedford, very accessible. We're obviously getting very ahead here, but very accessible for a local, almost a local game for those of us in London.
mm,
So yeah, they're the main things on the horizon. And in terms of what we've done, of course, we talked about the Christmas party. We were award winners. I know you and Kate. I can't remember if you and Katie mentioned that on a previous podcast. Let's face it, probably. Um, we went to the FSA Awards. That was a great evening. We were nominated in the non-league category. Sadly didn't win, but didn't really expect to, but had
Did
a
we have a
very
good
nice evening.
time?
We had a very nice time,
Yes.
and it was honestly, it's an honour to even be in the same room as some of those people because they all do amazing work,
Yeah,
especially in that
absolutely.
fans for diversity category.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, we didn't expect to win at the Emirates, did we? But to have the opportunity to go to a nice swanky hotel in London and have a lovely evening with Declan Rice and Sam Matterface and Victoria Derbyshire and
When we say with them, we
loads of
should add that
others.
we were staring at them on stage
Well,
from our
you've
table very
ruined
far back.
you've ruined that now, Joe, because I was going to get people to assume that we're just good mates with Dec Rice, But don't worry about it. It's fine. Yeah, he was nowhere near us. He was there for about 3 minutes when he got his
He
award and went
walked in
home.
for a few minutes,
Anyway,
waved, did a very nice speech, left before
everybody
any of
knows
us
now,
could
so it's
pile
done.
towards him for a selfie. Um,
Done.
and we had a great day out at hospitality earlier this season. We've got another hospitality day coming up. Hopefully, I don't actually know if we've kind of officially announced that we're doing that, but we're going
Well,
to
we
do that
can.
again.
You can, by all means, announce the fact that we have got a table at Radcliffe, which was obviously supposed to be the final home game of the season, which is not
Mhm.
anymore. So we may well do something for Peterborough as well, whether it's hospitality or whether it's just meeting up earlier, and maybe having a bite to eat somewhere or a few drinks. Certainly, that's usually our way.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
again, the only way that you can find out about that is by becoming a London Bulls member. So, get yourself on that. Links below. But look, Joe, thank you so much for joining me today in Katie's absence. But
Oh, thanks for having me.
very interesting insight. It is a bit longer than we were hoping, but there is quite a lot to talk about, and we hadn't done one of these podcasts all season. So we've covered a lot off, but hopefully the next one won't be quite as long. Which Joe is also doing. She doesn't know that yet, but she's also doing that one.
No, you literally
Um,
just sprung that on me right now, Tom. Thanks.
yeah. You've got to do it on air, and then everyone is a witness. So
I should
that's
add that
that.
I am on holiday for a little bit, so I'm not going to be at quite a few of the next games. So I'm not necessarily going to be the best candidate for this, but we can
Oh
discuss
well,
that off air, Tom.
good luck. Um, but yes, obviously we'll try and get some more interviews lined up. One or two conversations going on at the moment. So hopefully they come to something and we can get some really exciting interviews back on. But in the meantime, have a lovely weekend. Anyone who's traveling to King's Lynn, safe travels. Fingers crossed for 3 points.
Enjoy
And
that 2-0 win that I predicted earlier on as well,
yeah,
of course.
and just good luck, everybody. Have fun. Bye bye.